What's going on, guys? Welcome to another video. I hope you guys are well. So after a few weeks of the protest in Kenya, the finance bill protest in Kenya, I think it's time now. I know there is no leader. There's nobody leading this this protest. It happens organically. Now, I have a few suggestions because the protest cannot continue like this. There has to be a head. There has to be a direction, especially now that goons have infiltrated. Because when this thing started, when the protest started, we see it on the TV, we see it everywhere. When it started, it was peaceful. Kenyans in the streets protesting peacefully. There was no burning of anything. There was no destruction. There was no looting. There was nothing. There was no fight. Suddenly, goons started infiltrating and causing all of this nonsense and giving legitimate protest a bad image. Now, I don't want to accuse anybody. I don't want to say that the goons were sponsored, but they look as if they are people that were sent in there to go and cause trouble, just to make the Gen Z protesters look bad. That's my personal opinion. It may not be so, but that's the way I see it. Okay? Now, there have been these goons in cities like Mombasa, Nairobi, Migori, Kisumu, and Kisii, from what I have it here. These are the places that they went and started breaking shops. For you to go and loot a shop, you know, this is what happens in Nigeria during the End SARS protest of 2020 in Nigeria. It was a peaceful protest that started, and then suddenly hoodlums and criminals, street urchins, now came in, took over the whole thing and started looting shops, destroying properties. It didn't go anywhere. So I don't want that to repeat itself in Kenya. I don't want it to, you know. So whoever is organizing this thing, or no, if nobody is organizing it, but let the youth collectively, when you go out to protest, anybody that starts to destroy property, point him out to the police. Anybody that in the group that wants to loot, organize all of you, because these people are going to tarnish your image. Organize all of you, and then let the police arrest these people. They don't have to spoil the progress you've made so far. You have made the president rescind his decision. You have made the parliament sit up. You have made a lot of them apologize. A lot of them are now even, you know, talking about what to do for the Gen Zs and the youth and the youth unemployment in Kenya. That means it's working. Don't let goons and other people to come and hijack it. Now, after all of this, after the demonstration, after the protest, we now have to start thinking about moving forward. You have to think about moving forward, Kenyans, especially the Gen Z youth, because the protest cannot continue forever. Businesses have to open. The government has to function. Now, there are so many points, a few points I've made here, you know, for you to move forward with this. It's my opinion. I'm not in Kenya, but it's just an opinion. And as a Nigerian who has observed protests, similar protests in Nigeria like this, I think the Kenyan government is more responsive. You know, it's responsive, not like other places where they just let the thing happen and go out of control. Now, the government has to be held accountable. The government has to accept responsibility for all of this. They have to accept responsibility for coming up with the finance bill thing. They have to hold themselves. They have to be held responsible for the riots, because without them coming up with that thing, the riot would not have happened. They have to be held accountable in every other way that led to this. Now, secondly, in order to move forward, I'm talking about not just Kenya now. My second point is not just Kenya, is Nigeria, other African countries. You have to separate religion. Separate religion from politics, from governance. Okay? If you are a Muslim, you are free to worship whoever you're worshiping in your spare time. If you are a Christian, you don't have to go to church to make, as a government official, to go there in an official capacity, to go to church and start making statements. No. Now, if you want to campaign during election, I don't think church is the place for you to campaign. You can campaign somewhere. Youth of that church can campaign for you somewhere, not in the church. Because if a government official campaigns in church premises, you are now bringing religion into governance. And that is not going to favor everybody in the country. Okay? Now, the next point is that after this, the Kenyan government has to make plans for Gen Z. You have to include Gen Z in moving forward. Because most of the complaints we are hearing now, most of them have been left out. Most of them complain about education. Most of them complain about lack of jobs. Moving forward, the Kenyan government has to incorporate these guys into their government. Moving forward, you have to take, I don't know if you have a youth minister in Kenya. If you don't have, the Kenyan government has to appoint a youth minister to look after the Gen Z, hear their needs, to engage the Gen Z. Because Africa today, not just Kenya, African countries, youths make up about 60 or 55% of the entire population of Africa. Some countries have their youth population is like 25 years old. That's it. So the government you have to put these people, carry them along. The next point, you have to cut lawmakers' allowances, because most of the things these people are complaining is that if you are going to introduce taxes, if you are going to tax them for things, simple things, common household things as toilet paper, diapers, sanitary pads for women, bread. I know some of them have been rescinded, but if you have to do all of that, and then lawmakers are still making more money, there's no changes, there's no reduction in their allowances. Look at Nigeria. In Nigeria, they sit down and collect newspaper allowance, dressing allowance, furniture allowance every month in Nigerian senators. Furniture allowance doesn't mean that they are buying furniture every year, every month. They get car allowance every month. They get so many allowance to the point that at the end of the month, allowance and whatever they make amounts to more than $1 million each. So Kenya, you have to reduce the allowances you pay. You have to be seen to be doing something. You have to be seen to be doing something in order to, kind of give the Gen Z how should I put it? Let the Gen Zs know that you're not just wasting their resources just to feed fat. Okay. Now the next point is that you have to renegotiate foreign loans. What happens in Nigeria was when we at the end of the military rule in 19. Oh, my battery is low. Let me put a charger. Hold on. Okay. So I was saying that in Nigeria, after the military left in 1999, the new president, that's Obasanjo, when he came, he renegotiated our foreign loans, our debt. He renegotiated it with World Bank, IMF, and I think Paris Club. So I think Kenya needs to renegotiate loans or terms of the loans they have with China and the European Union, IMF. You need to renegotiate the loans in order to see where you can, if there's going to be reduction in that. Now, the next one is that you have to appoint youths. You have to appoint Gen Z, youthful people into important position. Like I said, maybe a minister of youth, a youth minister, or sports minister, somebody that the Gen Z will look at and say, this guy looks like me, and then, something like that, just to pacify them. Now, the next one is that you have to prosecute the police officers involved, because, like I was saying the other day, William Ruto was having the interview with those journalists. There was an argument. He was saying that it's 19 people that died. The journalists are saying, no, actually it's 24. He was visibly angry that they were asking him these questions. So we've heard the death of these people. Some of them were even captured live on camera harassing people. So if you have to put an end to this this protest, you have to now start prosecuting those police officers who were seen shooting at protesters. You have to do an internal investigation and see those that shot live ammunition. You are not supposed to do that in the protest. There has to be an investigation. Now, and those ones that were manhandling, because I saw them shoving people into their van, into their truck, just throwing human beings as if they are bag of beans, bag of rice or something, shoving them. No, that's not fair. Okay, you have to treat people as humans. We are Africans. If I'm not gonna say that. So you have to pay. The Kenyan government has to pay hospital bills for the wounded. There have been a lot of, more than a couple of hundreds of wounded citizens that were wounded in this protest. Some of them have this wounded from shrapnel. Some of them were wounded during stampede. The government has to foot the bill. You have to be seen to do something in order to pacify these people, like I said. You have to foot the bill of those people that were injured. Next, you have to, those that have died, you have to compensate their families. You are the government, you have the money. Don't say there's no money. You are the government. Okay? You have to compensate the families of those that have died. Not just say go and visit and say sorry. No, you have to pay money. You have to compensate them, do something. That being said, now, when all these things are being done, it will now show that the government will not be held responsible, so that in the future the government will look at what they have spent, what they have lost in this protest. In the future, they're not going to come out heavy-handed. They're not going to begin to attack their own citizens. You're not going to do that. And this protest, if there is no leader, if there is no somebody for you to grab and hold and say, this is the person, no. You have to negotiate with these people by, I don't know if you want to go on social media or you want to make a general broadcast and ask these people what they want. But as of now, they want Ruto to go. I don't know how that is going to happen, considering all of this stuff, but I don't know. Who am I? I'm just a Nigerian here making video. All right, guys, thank you so much. As of today, I have 777 subscribers. 48 hours ago, I had 505. So I believe in the next 48 hours, I should get to 1,000. Like I said earlier, YouTube is telling me that only Only 3% of you that watch my video are subscribers. The rest you just watch and go. So you have to subscribe, We are just here trying to entertain you, keep you enlightened. Viva Kenya.